Now, that's fine, whatever. At least it loaded this time, so we're actually going now. I'm not sure if this is FDS though, but it doesn't matter.
Welcome to the adventure arena.
Alright, so thank you for the wait, everyone. This is Crash Team Racing. I'll try and walk you through the speedrun as much as possible, so sit back and enjoy. Alright, so the way this game works, just to start out, is we need to, like the goal of the game, in order to get through the campaign, we need to beat all the bosses in every area, and to access the boss you need to beat every level that's in the area. And then you do one of the maps again that is the boss level from the area. So we have to do 16 levels total, and 4 of them are repeated ones. Actually 5, yeah. Because Oxide, the final boss himself, is also a boss in that sense. So the gameplay in this game is actually pretty simple. It's a lot of fun to play because the physics are very, very bouncy in this game. But the concept is basically when you slide to a side and you keep the slide, since there's two, like the first button, there's like 2 buttons on each side of the PS controller. Just press the opposite directions depending on which one you use to slide, and you can trigger a boost. You want to do it as late as possible. After the thing in the bottom at the speedometer goes to the red, you can get a boost out of it. I'll get through like other speed strats as we get through the game later, but for now it's pretty basic. Not a lot of skips and stuff are gonna happen right now. For now it's mainly just driving through the first part of the game. That's okay. And mash start to go past the trophy ceremony, and you don't need to mash it theoretically, but
Congratulations!
and then triangle at this after every trophy ceremony, and triangle at the start of every race. So there's a lot of mashing in this.
The more Wumpa fruit you collect,
Alright, so this is the boss level of this specific area, Roost Tubes. So you'll see this level repeat after the next 2 levels after this. This level is a lot of fun and introduces a lot of the core speed strategies of this game. The first core speed strategy is this one coming up right here, whereby bouncing after going down a hill, you get a so-called speed ghost. Basically, when you're sliding down on a hill and doing whatever, just anything to get speed, like this one here, you maintain the speed while mashing the jump button, because for whatever reason, the speed you have doesn't change when you're in the air unless if you do certain things. So as long as you just keep jumping, the time that you will maintain the high speed will be a lot longer. So sometimes you'll see me like get a lot of speed off this jump. It doesn't look like it saves that much time, and it might even look on the speedometer like it doesn't make a difference at times, but it definitely does. The so-called speed ghosts are like used nearly everywhere where there's like a decent downhill. Sometimes it's also used to jump up hills, because you drive slower up a hill, obviously, as you drive faster down a hill. And you see the thing behind engine right now, like the engine is the character, but I think exhaustion pipes is the name. There's a thing called sacred fire constantly going on, which normally you're not supposed to have all the time. Well, it's not like it's not intended for you to be able to have it, but you have to go really fast in order to have that. And by maintaining that the entire time, you know that basically that the speed is just fine. A lot of people might think that it's like, oh, you're cheating because you have Sacred Fire for so long, but that's actually like just because I'm going fast.
you win a trophy.
And these like Uka-Aku cutscenes will happen until the end of the second area. Once I'm past that, the game doesn't give more instructions anymore, which is nice. Alright. Mystery Cave. So, like, the entire run is really cool, but the start can be a bit slow. But thankfully, the first area is only, like, a little over 10 minutes of the 55 or so minute run I'll be doing. by bouncing on these things, you get what is known as a hang time turbo. Basically, if you jump off of a hill or a cliff or whatever, and you bounce high enough after a jump, you'll get a small speed boost when you land, which basically works just like hitting one of these turbo pads here, but it varies a little bit depending on how much height you get from it, and certain of the ramps for speed will also get more speed than others, so it's not really like a consistent thing. Also, sometimes it's not even worth it to get these because a lot of the time when you get a hang time turbo, it can actually cancel out your current speed from the speed you already have on the ground, meaning that if you, for instance, hit a ramp after having a lot of speed from a speed ghost, it might actually cancel out a lot of speed and waste your time instead. So depending on the area and certain stages, you want to not even go on like these things that look like they're fast. Also, as you're noticing right now, I have 10 Wumpa Fruits. Those are actually making me go faster. If anyone knows Diddy Kong Racing, it's kind of the same thing where the more you have, the faster you go, up to 10, and this game just stacks up to 10 only. It also upgrades my item, but in this game, items don't really do that much, so I try to avoid throwing items as much as possible. The only things that are good are the, there's like a turbo item, but it doesn't even give more speed, so it's only really good for certain cases of you losing speed, like hitting a wall. And then there's a shield, which can be very useful on certain stages. And sometimes, like the CPU's rockets can glitch through walls in certain areas, so they're just nice to have, just in case. But you don't really need items that much in the run. There's a theoretical good item in the game, which works like the star in Mario Kart 64, kind of. But the main issue with that is you need to be at least in second place. Certain levels, you will actually be able to get the Akauka mask on your character, just because sometimes the CPUs will get a faster start than you, so you can get lucky with that. But it's really, really rare. You shouldn't see it on the later stages, so it can only really happen at the start.
Congratulations! You win a trophy! You can get a hang time turbo from
Alright, so this is the final stage before the boss fight on this garage area. And this is a little bit interesting because it has a cycle going on. You saw cycles on the bounces from I guess they're turtles in the level I was just in. But this one is a bit different because it's like an enemy thing. There's a barrel rolling back and forth. Also, this stage has a little intended shortcut. It doesn't save a lot of time, and it doesn't lose you a lot of time if you like really mess it up. But I mean, it's a nice little time save. I'm not even sure if we can get it after him. We'll try. Okay, got it. It saves a little bit, like 2 or 3 seconds. And this wall, I'm gonna be driving on the side in here. Works a little bit strange. Basically, it works like a downhill even when it's like just the side of it. So if I do this well, I can get a lot of speed off of that. You can see I'm going really freaking fast right now. Skipping that double jump. And also double jumping is a thing that when you jump and jump again like I did there, you get a lot more height. And it's convenient for a lot of hang time turbo speed, but it's also convenient for just jumping up on top of hills to, make it as much worth it as possible, not to lose too much speed. Okay, nearly got hit, but I wanted that Wumpa Fruit box. The Wumpa Fruit boxes are RNG, by the way. This is fine, doesn't really matter. What I mean by RNG is they can give between 5 and 8, I think, total Wumpa Fruits. So you just gotta hope that the Wumpa Fruit amount you actually get is enough for you to get enough. Some stages you can pick up small, like single Wumpa Fruits. So if you, for instance, pick up 2 of those and you get lucky, you might be able to actually get 10 with just one Wumpa Fruit box, which is really nice. I can't even like see the jump that well on this TV, but I made all of them, so that's fine. See if I'm not gonna get squished this time. I should be fine. Oh, that was not that great, but it still gives me a lot of speed. Alright, that was okay. Not great, not bad. So it's time for Ripperoo, the first boss in this game. So basically you collect trophies on each of the normal levels, driving against the other drivers. And then you get a boss key from this guy, which makes you able to go to the next area. So yeah, again, roost tubes, the same as before. A lot of speed ghosts you use. That's a lot of the level. Minor shortcuts I did, but those should be self-explanatory. Also, the little boost I get at the start, if you just hold in the X button without tapping it a few times, you will still be able to get a turbo at the start, but the more you tap it, the higher up the speedometer goes each time, so you can actually get more speed from the start if you just press the X button a few times and stack it up while you're waiting. And it's not even hard. The timing is so lenient once you get used to it that it's not even funny. So for the jumping, I personally just mash L and R. L and R1, obviously. The other ones just make me look behind me, which is kind of useless. It's actually useful. There's a certain area in this game where it lags. That's the only place though. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that the bosses actually technically drop items all over the place, but this guy is so easy that you won't really see them. He throws the TNT boxes, and there, like you saw one explode just in front of me there. It's a time that. This is okay. I still doubt I had fastest speed on, but it should only really mean a 2-minute difference in the entire run, so it's fine. Basically, fastest speed, for those who don't know, is PS1 games can load faster on the PS2 by selecting an option from the menu. And yeah, use that in speedruns of PS1 games usually. Some games you don't, but this one you do. The Crash games you do.
Congratulations on opening this new one.
So now you're gonna see like the main hub thing. From here you can go to pretty much every place in the game, but since this is just an any percent speedrun, we just go straight to area 2. You do that in the other speedrun too, like 101% is the max one. Well, there's a max one too where you do all the time trial stuff, but the campaign 100% is called 101%, just because it actually gives a percentage of 101% in the game when you get everything. Naughty Dog had that in like a lot of their games. Crash 3 has 105%, stuff like that. So this is probably the only like real RNG level, besides a minor thing that actually can't even lose you time if you're not bad. The reason why it's RNG is because I need a throwable, a shootable item. That's bad, lost some speed. In order to break down a wall, this is probably a very well-known shortcut amongst people who play this game casually. I didn't get an item there, so I just lost like 3 seconds or something. It's not too bad. But the first lap is kind of brutal because you only have one item box you can get it in. Second lap and third lap you can at least pick up these ones from the lap before. That works, so next lap I should be fine. Also, I'd never really talked about why I pick Engine, but him and Coco have the exact same stats in the game, and technically they're not the fastest character. I think they have middle speed and highest acceleration, something like that. Not highest acceleration, highest turning. It's something like that anyways. And the reason why you don't pick Dingo Dial or Tiny, who's actually the fastest characters, is because certain skips they will not really be able to do in the game. So it's kind of pointless because they won't even save the time that they actually save, if that makes sense. So Engine or Coco is preferred. I'm like the only person in the community that likes Engine, but if you guys are familiar with the term waifu, this is my waifu. Okay, I got a 1 out of 3. That's pretty bad RNG. The odds of getting a decent item for throwing is fine, but I didn't get lucky. That's okay though. And then you get it after. It's like the salty item. Alright. It's okay though. Not that much time lost. Second lap was kind of bad because I got burned, but that was pretty much it. Still no real like skips or anything going on yet, but after this incoming level, you'll get to see a lot of skips for the rest of the run pretty much.
You can go faster through turns.
This is a pretty boring level though. It's pretty straightforward, Coco Park. It's kind of like Luigi Raceway in Mario Kart 64, if you guys watched the run earlier, or just know the game in general. But it does have some interesting speed tech in this one that you can use though. Basically, I'm not gonna do it in the first lap because I lost my speed. You can go over the wall to the side there and get a lot of speed off of it, so you don't need to go all the way around. But if you lose as much speed as I did, it's not worth it because it'll just go too slow for it to even get anything. Besides that, not a lot. Just double jumping and like doing small downhill speed ghost, etc. Nothing crazy. So here, I'm gonna double jump off of this thing. You'll see me get hang time turbo and just go around the side. If you get like a really, really good bounce, you can actually keep all your speed, and it's really smooth and it goes really fast, but I didn't get it there. Also something that I don't even think I've ever really mentioned at a marathon before. Once you are in midair and you press the jump button again, it actually buffers a small jump when you land, kind of. It's kind of weird to explain. It's not really a normal jump, but it makes it easier to jump into a new jump anyways. A new slide. This small downhill here counts as a small speed ghost as well, which is why I'm bouncing afterwards. Alright. Incoming is Papu's Pyramid. I hope I do well, because it's actually a really tricky stage. And I haven't been practicing, but I should be good. We'll see.
Congratulations! You win a trophy!
But yeah, this is... And for a long time, I felt like this was the hardest stage to do well in the game. Because this is also a boss battle stage, so you have to do this incoming like section skip 6 times in total. And it's just a lot of... Like, you need to maintain your speed perfectly to do all of the like intended plus unintended things well. It's really tricky if you haven't practiced it a lot. You need to understand exactly how your speed works. This is also really tough, because you need to slide around like a 270-degree turn or something like that. Maybe even more, I can't math right now. And also not hit the walls, because that loses you so much speed. This incoming jump is intended. You're supposed to be able to jump out here. But this one incoming now is unintended. You can jump on this wall and just go behind the finish line. It's pretty straightforward. The only issue with that is if you accidentally jump over the finish line, you will not trigger the current lap finishing, so you have to do a whole other lap. And on boss battles, you will probably not be able to finish in time on that. So you have to make sure that you don't accidentally, you know, skip not finishing the lap, or skip finishing rather. But yeah, this can be tricky, like that. I accidentally buffered a slide. Like I said, you can buffer into a jump afterwards. But this is another intended jump that Oxide does in time trials, which is why it's known as intended. It's actually pretty easy once you have the speed. You can also do a thing called U-turning there, which I'll get into more later. But when you U-turn, you lose a lot of the momentum you have when you land, because it's technically a brake turn. Get around crash. Thank you. Cutting around the grass is obviously a little bit faster. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. Let's see if we can do it this time. Alright. How's that level? Pretty straightforward. Well, I mean, with a lot of practice, it's straightforward. It can actually be very, very annoying, very frustrating when you're learning the game. It's one of the things most players don't do until they're very, very comfortable with the mechanics and the physics. So here I get a cutscene on purpose, or not cutscene, no, whatever you want to call it, like a dialogue thing. Because if I don't get it here, I will have to get it during the boss garage thing on Area 4 anyways. You have to get that cutscene unless if you want to drive around, which is slower. So might as well do it in a very convenient spot rather than a bad spot. Again, Dingo Canyon is a pretty basic level. Not much speed tech. There's still a lot of downslope, speed ghosts, etc. But that's... Once you're used to the game, that's very basic stuff, to me at least. You can actually cut across to the right there with enough speed by the, what is the name, cactuses? Cacti is actually plural, I think, by the cacti, but it's not even much faster. I never bothered with it because it saves maybe 0.2 seconds, and there's so much other spaces to like save time in the run. I just did one of the armadillos, which loses me some of my speed, but thankfully, I just messed up. Thankfully, there's a ramp there, which gave me a lot of my speed back quickly. Basically, as long as you have the Sacred Fire, it's pretty easy to get going, as long as you keep doing I don't even know, power slide turbos, I guess. I can't remember what you call them. This game has like very specific terms for all of the strats and like things used in game, but you forget it after some time. Like, instead of calling it just fire that's behind the car, it's Sacred Fire. So. And we get to the ultimate Sacred Fires later in the run. It's kind of ridiculous, but that's an actual thing. And it makes you go really fast. Hopefully I don't lose all my speed this time. Besides the armadillo head, it went okay. I'm gonna try and do a swag finish here. Let's see if I can do it. Well, that wasn't what I intended, but it still looked pretty cool, I guess. But don't worry, I get a chance on Hot Air Skyway later to do another swag finish. This is Papu Papu.
Papu much tired of watching puny slugs race so slow. Papu want in action to lay boom down big and prove Papu is world's best driver. Papu moves so fast, you munch tracks.
Oh yeah, and if people haven't figured out yet why everyone's in a cart driving against each other, there's this evil alien called Oxide in the game who's like the final boss, who came to Earth and said that the fastest driver on Earth should race him, and if they win against him, he will leave. But if the best racer on Earth loses, then he gets to turn the entire world into a road. It's pretty stupid. Whatever. This could be bad. I'm just gonna go safe here because he throws these potions. You see him throwing right now. I'm just gonna go really safe because this guy's pushing me. He doesn't rubber band, but it's RNG how fast he drives. He has certain cycles, and that just went really poorly. But I still got the main skip, so I only lost like 2 seconds. It's fine. But yeah, you saw the green potions. That's this boss's special weapon. All of the bosses have something. Oxide has a bunch. Let's see if we can do this a few more times. That was a frame perfect jump. I jumped a bit late, but you can jump after you leave a platform in this game. Pretty neat. Also, the cycle is annoying now. There's potions in the way. They should be here when I get up to the top 2, so we'll see. Hopefully they're not really in the way. Okay. They can be really annoying because there's random cycles where he throws them, so they can be in the worst possible spot sometimes. Oh, barely got the jump on that. Oh, that's fine. I'm gonna have to U-turn this because I don't have enough speed. So how I turned really sharp. I'll get into that a little bit later. That went okay though. Didn't lose too much time.
Papu not himself today. Maybe Papu not eating a big breakfast. You are fast for
I'm gonna try for the lag reduction coming up. Basically, by looking behind myself when I enter the new area.
For you. Him not as big, but him much more.
Because the area is so big, loaded-wise, when you get in there, it actually saves time to just look behind you like this, which I'm shouldn't showcase right now, but yeah, like this. Should have done it there. That ended up losing me more time than I can save on lag, so I'm an idiot, but whatever. But it's also annoying because you need to hit the loading zone. If you miss it, which I did, then it's pointless. A lot of noise in the background. I don't know if you can hear it, but ignore it in case you can. Yeah. New area, a lot of different skips, and also the most boring stage in the game coming up soon. But for now, just trying to get past the snow area. Cool. This rock you're gonna see down here is actually a so-called global cycle, meaning that as soon as you turn on the game, the cycle starts in the code. So it's always random pretty much where it's gonna be. It's technically not random, well, it's a cycle that just keeps running. I had no speed there. You can jump over that wall, but for some reason I lost all my speed. Please don't hit me. Hit at me. The bots are going at me. This run turned from like pretty good to just like, wow, what happened? The trophy is mine. Engine, Cortex fighting each other. But yeah, I'm not really getting much speed right now. At least I made the gap jump, but that still cost me about 10 seconds on that lap because of the rocket hit as well. Like this gap jump. This is intended, by the way, but oddly enough, this is unintended. But there's a small hill there, so you can just jump the fence. You can also do a double jump, which is technically faster, but it's a lot harder to time the double jump properly, so that... we'll get into a mechanic here. Hopefully, I get it off. Okay, by jumping a bunch, you can actually wiggle that off. So even though I lost some speed from that, it wasn't that bad. It was my own fault for throwing the TNT. It's a bad habit to accidentally throw items when you don't need to. You can see the laps in comparison. 26s compared to a 39.
Congratulations! You win.
Okay, so now we get no more cutscenes after every stage, which is nice, because I can just start driving. And Dragon Mines, this is the boss level in this area. It's a pretty cool stage. It has some cycles going on, and if you do it really well, it looks really cool. But it's actually not too bad once you get used to the cycles. Basically, there's like mine carts going around, and they squish you if they hit you, and they can like double hit you, so you can lose all of your aqua fruit. What am I saying? Wumpa fruit. Immediately. Even if you have a shield, they can hit you. So it's not exactly the best thing in the world to do. But I should be fine. Even if you get squished, you don't even lose time on going around, but I didn't get squished in the first lap. The first lap's pretty lenient, the cycle isn't even there yet. Second lap can be annoying if you mess up either just a little bit too much or if you're just going perfectly fast. That was a good enough lap, even though I messed up one of my slides. Let's try this again. Yeah, that's fine. I do a little U-turn. I guess I can get into the U-turns now, there to make it safe. But basically a U-turn is, while jumping, you hold in the brake button and down, and then to a direction, whichever way you want to, angle yourself. And I'm not sure if this is intended, but for whatever reason, it like brakes you in the same way as like you would do on the ground, kind of in midair, without actually really losing your speed. So what ends up being the result is just you turn really, really sharply, and when you land, you lose more speed than if you had not done it. But a lot of skips later on, you can use the U-turn to like do extreme jumps around the side, which just wouldn't really be possible if you didn't U-turn. This upcoming level actually, uses it.
Congratulations! You win.
Well, actually, it depends on if I do it. If I do it really well, I don't need to U-turn, but that's really hard with the strat I do. I do like the fastest RTA viable strat. Polar pass. Alright, so seals in this stage are also on a normal cycle, no global cycles. I'm pretty sure it's only the ruck in this game, so they should be consistent. Get around this seal. Now I'm gonna do this strat here where I turn around while going towards it. Alright, that was perfect. I didn't even have to U-turn. You have to U-turn in case you don't have enough speed to make sure that your angle is as straight as possible towards the actual thing. This is definitely intended just because of the... I think Oxide does it too. Generally, the way you can see if something's intended or not is look at the ghosts in Time Trial of Oxide and... what is his name? In... the Time guy, holy shit. I can't even remember the guy's name, but there's like a guy, a blue guy. It's N something. Got hit. Got several laughs from him too.
Wrong way!
Again, that was really good. As long as I get the jump there with like the fast turnaround, it's still really, really sick. Like, that took me so long to understand just how to maintain the speed as much as possible. Also, this jump around the side I did last time, I didn't really mention. That's not technically, you know, intended, but might as well do it. It saved like a second if you do it well. Oh wow, accidentally hit the wall. It's not too bad because there's a ramp here, or turbo pad, we would actually call them. Also a very good reason why this is really solid strat to be doing if you're like getting good at the game. There I had to U-turn when I landed. Is because on the first lap the CPUs, the bots, will be driving just fast enough that when you do the slow turnaround strat, where basically you go around the ramp first before you start doing a slide, you will very likely bonk into them, and it messes up the entire thing, and it's just makes it completely not worth it at all. So yeah, this was a very, very solid polar pass. Hashtag no practice. And this is, in my opinion, the most boring game. Yeah, this is the most boring. This is the most boring course track in the game. Let me put it correctly. This is the dirt track. This is a long stage. That's over a minute for each lap, which is... I mean, there are stages that are supposed to be longer, but because of skips, they're shorter. So this is the longest per lap. And also, it just has like really annoying sharp turns compared to the physics in this game, and like mud that just slows you down immediately. It can just get really frustrating to play this stage. It's not even like a fun stage. And on top of that, it's slow, so it takes a long time to get through. Especially in the 101% category, you need to do this stage 1, 2, 3, 4 times in total, I think. 4 times of this stage. So that's a lot of just driving around this one. There you saw like bots nearly hitting me with a rocket. That could have gone through the wall. That can happen, even if it doesn't look like it would ever happen. Sometimes the bots just ignore walls and just shoot you through. I was gonna say I did okay driving, and then I messed up a little bit. But thankfully, there's a turbo pad on the ground. Alright. First lap, let's see the time. I think it's like a 108. That's fine. The best players of the game get like 106, 105, maybe even 104 first lap, which is, you need to know the stage, like hills perfectly. Basically, if you do it perfectly, you can utilize the speed ghost like perfectly on these small turns here, small hills rather than turns. The turns in general on the stage are also really hard to like do perfect movement with, because you want to do them as tight as possible, obviously. But if you do them really, really tight, the next turn will just be so tight that you can't even like get around it, like this one right here. That was actually okay though. Hitting the mud quickly doesn't actually reduce your speed really. As long as you stay out of the mud for a long, like extended period of time, it's perfectly fine. It's not an issue. Let's utilize a little bit of double jump in this stage as well. Once this stage is over though, the rest of the run is really fun to play, to watch. Not sure if this is fun to watch though. I hope so. This stage can just be boring. Not about, like, there's no real strats to use in the level either. Let's just get through. fine. Alright. Just another 40 seconds of this stage. We're done with it. If this was a boss track, I would never have ran this game in the first place, just putting it out there. Alright. That's okay though, actually. I expected this to go way worse. Just because the stage is annoying, but 105, 106, and 108, not bad. Alright, so now it's Komodo Joe. Apparently, initially they were going to make the Komodo brothers in the game, but due to like limitations and of like how good it would look on the game, they decided to just go with Komodo Joe.
Now you'll see why I'm the most field driver on the circuit. I'll earn the right to face Oxide by crushing you into brick dust. Let's race.
Also, shoutouts to the amazing soundtrack in this game. I love Crash Bandicoot soundtracks, they're so joyous. So this guy has his own set of items again. He actually throws the nitro boxes. So if I get a really unfortunate cycle, on the third lap when I go around the turn, there can actually be a nitro box straight up in the way. There's not really a lot to do about it besides just hope it's not there. There I got squished because I lost too much speed, but can barely still make it up there. That lost time on going around, but not much. It's the turn, you have to slow down anyways, so you won't have any speed out of the turn really. So I usually, whenever people ask me like about when they should do it and stuff, like should I go for it, I just usually say just go all in always, because even if you fail it, even if the cycle messes you up, it should never really lose your time anyways. Like this I did there was the same time as if I had like just gone around pretty much, even though I messed up and lost speed. Alright, so this upcoming area, Area 4, is by far the most fun area in the game as a speedrunner. And I think, for sure, also for a viewer, both mind-blowing wise and just speed-wise. Because it introduces a mechanic called Ultimate Sacred Fire, which are turbo pads that just give a higher max speed out of the turbo. And as you can imagine, you're gonna be doing a lot of froggy jumping, as it's called, which is just the mashing of LNR to maintain the speed from a speed ghost. Sometimes it's actually worth it to not even jump with those things. I think you might actually lose the speed faster in certain situations, but it really depends. So,
your fault.
There's one stage where, like every stage in this area, every single course, every single track has a Ultimate Sacred Fire pad. It only has one in each stage, but two of the stages I won't even be using them because there are skips that actually just saves more time by going around. Engine Labs. The next two levels, this and the next one, does use them though, so you'll at least get to see them like twice. But besides that, the skips coming up are pretty large in terms of it just being like a 1.5 minute lap. Skip like half of the track pretty much in some of them. Some of them are less, but it's just about that. So this this thing you'll hear here, this is an Ultimate Sacred Fire. You can definitely tell just by the engine roaring a little bit louder, but you can also tell it by the speed. But even though there's only one on each stage, I will actually be hitting that twice a lap. Because for whatever reason, even when an area is out of bounds, as long as there's a speed pad, I guess, at least in this case, when you hit it, it doesn't count you as out of bounds, so I can utilize the fact that it's sticking out of the wall over here and jump on this one. Actually, I'm lying. The turbo pad to the left also is a ultimate sacred fire pad, but you lose the speed from the huge fall for whatever reason. So it's just worth it to jump down to the other one. That's also why I don't jump off of it, because if I do a so-called hang time turbo, then it will mess up the speed. The reason why I'm doing constant power slide turbos down this little fancy tunnel here that does give you speed and never like makes you lose speed is because there's an invisible boost counter in the game actually. You can't see it, you can actually take it on with cheat codes on the NCC version, but I don't even know if that's like allowed in a speedrun. No one ever did it anyways, so I think not. But basically, the reason why there's a boost counter is because the way the mechanics work is based on how many you have stacked up in a row, so to say. Like if you do these and then jump into a new one immediately, you keep them longer. Is after you stop a combo of like these so-called power slide turbos, it will like reset your counter, but it will do it slower the more you have stacked up. So you'll keep the speed longer. This was a really bad explanation, but you keep the speed longer the more mini turbos or turbos, power slide turbos you have stacked up in total. So you want to stack them up, even if you don't get more speed. You can do that to make sure this speed, ultimate sacred fire right there actually lasts long enough to go around all this way. Jump. All right, that's pretty good. And now we're gonna be jumping down to Cortex Castle, which just is turn to the side and then jump down. There you go, and it's right there. It's pretty straightforward. Again, this one has a ultimate sacred fire pad, and it's at the end. So I will making aware of where it is. Although again, you should be able to tell on the engine sound. But this stage is actually it's actually fun. It looks really annoying because it has so many like 90-degree sharp turns. But once you get used to this stage, it's actually pretty cool. The spiders are also just on a normal cycle, and if you just drive well, you can just drive behind them and you will literally never hit them. Except for the ones after the ultimate sacred fire pad, which comes at the end here. Little intended shortcut to the side here where you can just jump up. And then, there you go. This is the ultimate sacred fire pad. I lost my speed. I must have not had enough stacked up turbos. It looks like I just did it the entire time, but that one can be very tricky just because it's such a high drop. It's annoying, but that's what happens. It doesn't lose a lot of time though, it barely loses any. It's like a second, maybe two, depending on how well I react to it. You should first really be able to tell on this lap though, because the Sacred Fire, Ultimate Sacred Fire is supposed to like continue into the next lap and then give you more speed there. So this lap time should have been better. You can see that in comparison to if I get an Ultimate Sacred Fire now that lasts. Then you can see it on the final lap time. This looks better. There you go. This lasts way longer. You can tell I'm just going really fast. Even when the Sacred Fire behind me was gone, I was still going fast just because of the froggy jumping. Alright. I'm gonna go for the so-called pull 360. Shoutouts to the runner Quilla. They're a sexy lady, lad, whatever. Oh no. Well, it doesn't matter because I'm gonna do the pull 360. But that would have lost me my Ultimate Sacred Fire here. But let's go for it. No, I dropped off to the side. The pole 360 is basically just a 360 and then landing again, but failed it. I'm ashamed, I'm a disaster. Whatever. Alright, so the next 2 incoming levels before the boss fight are both gonna be boss levels, just because you see them in the area, and then both boss fights come straight right after, and they're in each individual game. In each individual course. I keep saying game instead of track. Okay, Hot Air Skyway is a very interesting level, to say the least. You basically skip half the entire track, pretty much in total, just from utilizing the loading of the game, the way the game loads tracks ahead of you. So you'll be seeing me turn around and actually drive backwards in order to go faster in the run. I'll explain it after this, like after actually doing it, so you can see it first, and then I'll get to the explaining. Okay, well, that was some nice AI driving there. Usually they don't ram into me, but let's see here. And I'm in first place. But it's not over yet, because I'm gonna go over here as well. Okay, so how that works is if I was to jump over the wall immediately, it would not work how it just worked there. Basically, the loading of this game, it loads the track quite a bit ahead of you, but not very far, like it doesn't load infinitely far ahead of you. But it doesn't deload the track ahead of you once you've already reached a certain load point. So when I go over here and turn around at this point, I do it around this point on the map where there's like a thing on the ground. The track will be loaded behind me, or ahead of me rather, down here, and I stick to the wall on the wrong side to do an infinite fall glitch so that it doesn't make me go out of bounds. And when I land, it looks like the track is loaded really far ahead of me, but it's actually barely loaded for me to not be out of bounds when I land there. Same for this one. That's why I drive it a little bit further, just to make sure it works. And it makes this track go from like a 1 minute 30 lap probably into like the 45s or so if you do it well. But this is not even the most broken level in the game. The most broken is by far Oxide Station, which is the level coming up after this. It's just using that glitch, but like to its full extent, on top of like walls, and it's crazy. You're supposed to do so many sections in Oxide Station, and you just do nothing basically. Just drive around on walls and jump down. You'll see. Also, I got a 43 lap. That's really good.
Wrong way.
I think the best players get like 41 with this character. Well, Coco, if they use that. But you can do this ending a little bit faster. If you do it like this, it's supposedly faster if you do it well. Something like that. We're gonna try and do the swag finish. Got it. After going out of bounds, it like scoots you a little bit forward, and for some reason it just hits the trigger for the finish line. It loses a little bit of time, but it's so worth it every time.
Congratulations!
I think Idolno's team just scored in hockey, so shoutouts to Idolno's favorite team in hockey. So yeah, this is a really tricky stage though to do really well on, just because if you do a slide mess up, you can lose 5 or 10 seconds immediately, because you have to turn around to get enough speed again. But I'll obviously try and do it as well as possible. I messed that up, but there's a backup. You're supposed to I'm getting pushed around. You're supposed to U-turn onto that wall, but you can also just jump into it. And I'm gonna drop down here, hopefully. I really messed this up. I'm gonna go back here just to make sure this is safe. Okay, and then I'm gonna drive back up again to the exact same spot, using the theory of loading the track ahead of me, and bounce into the wall again. This time I failed it. And it's a little bit too far to the side. Come on. This is still actually maybe a little bit faster than driving normally. And then you jump down here, and the track is loaded here. It was slower just because of all the mistakes I made. Oh, and you can just jump off to the side here and skip the entire like outdoor section, like the zero gravity thing you're supposed to do. That's pretty neat. I should not have thrown that. That was just, you know, this circle button is just so close to all my fingers at the same time. I can't resist it. But Yeah, that was a really poor lap. I can shave off 20 seconds on that if I do this lap well. So we'll see this hopefully go better. Can U-turn into this wall, land there, jump down, and you're here immediately. And if I don't mess up the small U-turn I usually do up here, it should look a lot better. There you go. This is a much better lap already. U-turn off to the side. You don't even need to U-turn, but I just do it for safety. Not gonna hit that TNT. All right. Yeah, look at the difference in the times. Obviously, first lap will always be a little bit slower because you start further behind. And that wall is like tricky. You need to hit a pretty specific part. Just barely not enough speed. Come on. You have to jump like a little bit before reaching the wall too, otherwise the bounce won't really work. It's kind of strange. Get used to the timing with enough practice. This is one of the stages that players need to practice the most probably, because you have to do it so many times in the run as well, 6 laps in total. Alright, didn't hit that TNT at all, thankfully. Now it's time for Pinstripe Battle, which is gonna be in Hot Air Skyway. So in case you either missed these or want to watch the exact same skips again because you just still haven't figured out how the hell I do them, then they're coming again now. So be ready, I guess. I don't think I have fastest speed on in this run, because I haven't been playing too bad, but I'm at 52 minutes right now. It should have been better. I think I lost like 2.5 minutes just from not having the correct like option on the PS2. But the run in itself, in its core, is the same. It's just loading times that are slightly slower. Actually, maybe this is still like, I can't remember how long it takes. There's like a lot of cutscenes here at the end, and the stages themselves take like 2.5 minutes or so. This is the exact same as last time, and so for Oxide Station pretty much. Except the bosses can actually be really annoying. Because again, they have like certain throwable items. This guy throws bombs. He throws them ahead of him if he's ahead, and he throws them behind if he's... Wait, the other way around. He throws them ahead if he's behind, and he throws them behind if he's ahead. That's the way. So on the last lap, if I play this well and don't mess up, the cycle will be in such a way that I have to like dodge his bombs on the last couple of turns in order to not get hit, which is really annoying, but you have to deal with it. Alright. First lap was pretty good.
Yeah, right.
Also, Pinstripe has the best voice acting in this game by far, even though everything is pretty good in this game in terms of game quality, voice acting, etc. Oh yeah, I usually don't really recommend necessarily speed games at Marathon, but if anyone's watching this and they've played it before, and they would either want to get into speedrunning or they have already speedrun and want a new game, this is actually a very straightforward game to pick up, but there's still a lot of depth for you to explore in the game. So this is a fun game to pick up for anyone.
You're mine.
42 lap is really good. It's pretty low too.
Wrong way!
Alright, got all of the skips. They're not even that bad, to be honest. Some people have trouble with them just because the infinite fall glitch can be annoying to get the hang of. But besides that, it's actually not too bad. I made it so fast. I've never been there that fast before.
Yeah,
I jumped over and just immediately got it. Not much to do in that situation. That's the one I was talking about. I just figured it wouldn't be in the way because, yeah, basically even though he throws it on this track down here, it for some reason goes into the air and up on the ramp as if it had just like followed a straight path. It's pretty annoying. Yeah. Lost 10 seconds from that, whatever. Can I do the swag finish again? Oh yeah. Alright, so time for Oxide, the final boss in the game. He's really annoying. That looked really stupid. That was really annoying, but just wait until you see this guy. He even has a head start on you. He starts before you. So
I doubt you'll be
what's
as
the
lucky
time at?
with
55.
Oxide.
Yeah.
Here's
I don't
a key
know.
for your
I definitely
troubles.
feel like this should be faster than what it is at the moment then. So I think it's the wrong option. Whatever, this run has been good all around. A lot of small mistakes, but I'm a little bit rusty, so that's to be expected. Kind of.
Now we prove who the fastest driver really is.
Alright, so you see this guy, he's obviously cheating, he starts ahead of time, so I'm gonna also cheat and jump down the track over here. Hopefully not mess this up this time. There we go.
Here's a little surprise.
He can be annoying here, bump into you, but I went too far around to try and dodge him. The real reason why this guy is a jerk is not lap 1, not lap 2, but rather the final lap. Once you jump down, not to this part, but the part I jumped down from, there can be red potions in the way. And basically when you hit a red potion, if it's in the wrong spot, you're pretty much guaranteed to hit it if you're unlucky. And the red potions give like random effects, and one of the effects it can give is you are not able to jump. And you need to jump to get over that small gap to like do the skip I did. So that would be really unfortunate, obviously. So I hope that doesn't happen. And then if something like that should happen, then Oxide is gonna be like right ahead of me on the final like stretch to the finish line. Which is again really annoying because he throws items constantly behind himself and it's so hard to dodge. But this gameplay so far is really good on Oxide. Perfect so far. Oxide's all you. It's pretty good. Also, this can be really bad RNG-wise. As you see, those were in the way, but I actually managed to get around them. That was really good by me. I'm clubbing myself on the shoulder there, but if I got a little bit more to the left, I would have hit the potions, and if I hadn't done that perfectly, then like I would have just been like knocked back and lost my speed. Alright, that's a good backup. That only took like 5 seconds extra. Oh, there is what I'm talking about. Oh, okay, well, I'm good. I think Oxide is behind me right now because I didn't mess up on my speed thing. Yeah, there's no items ahead of me. Okay. Inanol, or whoever is on time. Okay, you're on time. When I cross the finish line, okay, I'll yell it. And time.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you, guys that have not been here the entire time.
Good job, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good job on the
Thank
run,
you.
man.
Thank you.
Good job on the
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, look really cool hands. You actually have cool hands too. So I hope you enjoyed the run. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you just finished.
Yeah. Thank you. What was the final time? 58. I'm pretty sure that would have been a 56 with proper loading time, but yeah, still a sub estimate. So we're gonna switch to the next game straight ahead. I'm pretty much assuming. So no ending cutscene for you guys. Sorry.